Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Podcast, and it is July 17th. We're still in the All-Star break, just for a couple more days, and then it's back to Cubs baseball. Luke Stuckmeyer, Ryan Herrera, Cody, Delmendo, and our special guest, Mr. Alex Cohen. Have you seen him recently? I know you have, because you watch Cubs baseball. He made his Major League debut for a regular season, right?
Yes.
Awesome. We're going to talk about that with Alex. We're going to talk about the All-Star game, all kinds of stuff. It's just great to see him, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This, you haven't been on in a while, like almost a year now, maybe?
Yeah, he came on last year.
Miss you guys. Yeah, no, I came on last year, and now I'm able to talk to you guys during the All-Star break, so I appreciate it.
Right. I mean, listen, sure, you were doing Major League Baseball broadcast, and you're going to do another one on Friday, but you get to be on our podcast. I mean, that's got to be really feel special for you. So credit to us for making you feel special, huh?
Credit to you, credit to Cody, credit to everybody. We're all good. No, I'm really excited, and any opportunity to talk baseball with you fine gentlemen, I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Before we get to the broadcast, what did everybody think of the All-Star game? Were you into it? It's the only All-Star game I care about in any sport.
I feel like I liked the game. I had fun watching the game. The home runs are cool. I feel like the jerseys just took it down a notch off the bat, and it never quite got back to where I want. Even with the home runs, Shohei,
Jared Duran,
the game winner, like all that was cool. Seeing Shota out there was cool. The jerseys just brought it to a level it could never recover from me. I don't know.
I would agree. These uniforms were absolutely atrocious. I tried to give them a chance. I legitimately tried, because when you first see them come out and like they're not, you just see like the jersey itself not on someone. It's like underwhelming, and I'm like, all right, but let's see with the full uniform. No, can't do it. They need to go back like how they used to. Everyone wear the jersey of the team they play for. That's what I say.
Alex, for me, the thing that jumped out was no position players for the Cubs. And you think back to, winning the World Series in 2016, and the whole infield basically is the Cubs at one point. Yeah. That's where the franchise is going. Like, it's time to get back to putting everyday players in the All-Star game. They have some good players now. It's time for somebody to start taking that next step.
Yeah, I mean, I think Michael Busch had a case for being one of the position players to go to the All-Star game. For me, I fell asleep after the Shota appearance. Shota shoving, so to speak. I was tired. I mean, a lot of adrenaline this weekend, so I had to get my nap time in. But I think the All-Star game, without Mike Trout and without Mookie Betts and without Ronald Acuna, and that to me took a little of the luster out of it. And obviously not as many Cubs, only Shota Imanaga when, in my opinion, Justin Steele pitches more games and Jameson Taillon pitches more games and Michael Busch gets more votes. Then we're talking about something different. But I think it was just a combination of all those factors. Made my nap time a little bit easier.
No, I mean, like you mentioned the World Series team, but like even think back to 2008 when they had 8 guys on the team and like 4 starters were Cubs players. Like, yeah, I'm with you. And you mentioned Steele. I think, the fact that he went, even when he came back, was winless for like another month and a half. And so he's got 2 wins now right there to end the All-Star break. So, like, had he just won more of those games, even if pitcher wins don't matter as much anymore, had he won more of those games, the numbers will probably look better. Maybe he gets a shot. But definitely missing a month, too, hurts him. But I guess we should ask about Sunday, right?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you did an awesome job. I haven't heard anybody, this business is built on people being angry and people complaining. And I think one of the greatest things you can hear is this. Not a single person I've talked to has said a negative word about your broadcasting. Like that's like telling somebody in real life, you're the one. Like that's the equivalent, because our business and social media is built with negativity. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about one of your broadcasts. How much pressure did you feel for your first major league game?
Well, first of all, I appreciate you saying that. And I'm more of like an under-promise, over-deliver type of person. So the fact that nobody complained on my first one and the Cubs hit 6 home runs and they won, like, I have the call on Friday, man. It's tough to live up to that. So there's a lot of pressure. But leading up to it, I'm not normally somebody who feels nerves. But I think if you would have asked my wife, she's like, yeah, he was nervous. He was anxious. He was ready. He was anticipating it. And I think especially like the 24 hours leading up to it, we're like, come on, like I want to do this. I've been waiting for this for a really long time. So on Saturday night, I was in St. Louis. I was there for the doubleheader, there for the losses. Went back to the team hotel. My wife was with me, and my wife said, hey, like, let's go to the bar. I'm like, no, like I want to go up. I want to prep. I want to sleep. She's like, no, just like one drink. When she says one drink, that doesn't mean one drink. But all right, fine, we'll go. I'll have a water. So I go there. She has her phone camera on me. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And my 3 buddies from college came and surprised me, which completely like changed the entire course of the weekend. Like I didn't think that I was feeling anxious, but then recognized like when they came there, my attitude and us having a couple drinks, like I was definitely anxious. I was definitely nervous. And my support system being there just helped so much. And then Sunday was just pure adrenaline. You show up to the ballpark, you kind of have to like pinch yourself to make sure that it's real. Then the first Cubs home run, second Cubs home run, third, fourth, okay, 6 Cubs home run. And then by the end of it, just staring out at Busch Stadium, it was, gosh, it was cool. It was awesome.
Yeah. So I'm curious on because obviously we know like minor leaguers, the dream is to go to the major leagues. They grind out all these years in the minors to get, fulfill their lifelong dream, get to the big leagues and play big league baseball. But on the broadcaster side, like you're grinding it out too at Iowa. Like sometimes me and Cody have been there with you. Like you're by yourself sometimes, or most times in that booth calling games on your own, and you get that opportunity to finally call a Major League Baseball game for the Chicago Cubs. What does that overall mean to you? What does that mean to you after all this time of you calling minor league games to get that chance to do a Major League game?
Everything. It means absolutely everything. Especially being able to do it for the Cubs. I've been with the Iowa Cubs since 2018. That's almost 50% of my professional career. As most of you know, like I grew up in Philadelphia, but I fell in love with Wrigley Field when I was in college. Like I went to Indiana University. All my friends who went to IU are from Chicago. And they said, you know what, like come to Wrigley, you'll love it. And me being the natural antagonist that I am, I'm just like, nah, like it's fine. It's not like Philly's better. Cool. And I remember going there my freshman year of college. I went up to Chicago for a weekend. We were going to go to one game. It was Cubs Marlins. It was 2008. And I remember going there and the bleachers and just like soaking it all in. And we went Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We went all 3 games. Like I fell in love with the Cubs and I fell in love with Wrigley Field and Wrigleyville then. So to be able to do it for that organization and then do it on Friday at Wrigley, Friday, 1:20 game, day baseball, like, I mean, the hair's sticking up on my arm. Like, I can't wait.
Yeah. Luke really... he mentioned that he didn't see anyone say anything negative about you. And to take some pressure off you, Alex, I'll just say that for me, it was just nice to hear a familiar voice because I don't watch Iowa Cubs every single night, but I see all of the clips of guys hitting home runs.
I don't love that.
Okay, well, I have to
Not
watch.
every night?
I have to watch the Cubs for a living, Alex.
Tell you what, me and Luke watch every night, so you know.
They obviously do. They're better than me, okay? But the point is that I think a lot of fans, especially in this current era as we're watching this team grow, a lot more people have been paying attention to the Cubs minor league system. They're watching guys like Matt Mervis and Alexander Canario and all these other names that people have been talking about the last couple of years. And so they're hearing your voice a lot. So when you are on the broadcast, you already resonate with a lot of fans. And I think that certainly helps
For sure.
your case in terms of why, at this point, no one has complained about you. But obviously, I think that you're great at your job. And when when me and Ryan got to go to Iowa last year, you let us go in the booth, call an inning with you.
Cool.
That was really cool. So it couldn't happen for a better person, man. So I have to say, listening to Cubs on TV or watching the Cubs on TV for the first time and seeing someone call the game of someone I personally know was a surreal moment for myself. So it was a cool thing.
No, it was. I appreciate that, Cody. It was awesome all the way around. And no, I think it helps that I've seen a lot of these guys. I've been here with Morel. I've been here with Hap. I've been here with Steele. You look at the bullpen, the majority of them have been with the Iowa Cubs. So just getting to know those guys and be with them when they're one step away from the big leagues, it makes everything connect a little bit better. And I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate to be able to build relationships with these guys, professional relationships with these guys, planning their travel. I mean, when you're in the minor leagues, you're doing a little bit of everything. So I'm planning team travel for them. I'm getting them free golf tee times. I'm trying to play to their strengths. So, no, I mean, I think that the entire weekend was really special. I think that Marky did just a tremendous job. I didn't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting that. They just rolled out the red carpet. They made the entire day special, and Friday just, I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm actually curious. How did that all come about? Like, how did they tell you, like, hey, we want you to come? Like, when did that happen? Like, how did this whole thing even kind of happen?
No, it's actually a really cool story. So we were on a 12-game road trip in June. And in the middle of that 12-game road trip, I came to Chicago for like a day. Usually during my off days, I like to watch more baseball. I'm a sicko. So,
I remember seeing you in the clubhouse. Yeah.
Yeah, cool stuff like that. So I went to Marquee, filmed a podcast with Tony Andracki, Andy Martinez. And then Nick Steger, their director of programming, calls me into his office. Just like, hey, what's going on? We have a pretty good relationship. And it's like, what's going on with you? I'm like, no, nothing. Like, I'm in the middle of a 12-game road trip. It's a grind, but I'm here in Chicago. It's great. What's going on with you? He's like, oh, no, nothing much. We're doing some cool stuff here over the next couple of weeks. I'm like, oh, what do you got going on? He's like, like you making your big league debut. And I'm like, what? And I'm just like looking around the office, make sure there's no cameras. I'm not being punked. I'm like, seriously? He's like, yeah, you're a big leaguer. You're making your big league debut. Congratulations.
That's awesome.
And it was awesome, man. I mean, and Nick's a mess. I mean, he, kind of set it up perfectly, and just the way that they've carried themselves around this process and making me feel involved and part of the team. And it was incredible.
Awesome.
I think one thing for me that stands out about his broadcast, Alex's broadcasting, is that it's comfortable, right? You never feel forced. You had 6 home run calls. Heck, this season, I don't know if you were ever going to have a home run call if you did a Cubs game, but you had 6 of them in one game, and all of them were comfortable, didn't feel canned. And I haven't seen a young play-by-play guy as comfortable as Alex in baseball. The only other one I can think of is Brian Anderson when he was in San Antonio with me. And now he does
writing that down,
everything.
right?
He does the Final Four, the national championship, golf, whatever. He does everything.
So you're talking about way back.
And Brewers, but like he was doing the same thing Alex does. I don't think people realize how hard that path to the big leagues is. All the things you've got to do, all the grinding you got to do to get to that level. When did you decide you wanted to do this for a living? Like, what was the first step in that path?
Anywhere between age 6 and age 16. I think that just growing up, I knew that I wanted to talk. I had older siblings that used to play video games and wouldn't let me play. So in order to make my presence felt with authority, I would broadcast those games. I went to a sports broadcasting camp when I was 12 years old. So I knew from there it was an interest. But then in high school, my buddies and I started the sports broadcasting club at our high school. Did every sport imaginable. I think our second broadcast ever was a powder puff football game. And just being able to let that resonate and how much fun we had doing that. I'm like, it'd be pretty cool if I could do this my entire life and get paid for it and not have to do anything else. So 15 years later, 20 years later, here we are. I think there's been multiple stepping stones with that, going to college and going to Indiana University and doing student radio. And the feeling when you do your first radio show and the feeling when you do your first baseball game and football game and basketball game, like the adrenaline that comes like permeating through your entire body. So yeah, I would think it's, oh boy.
Keep going, Alex.
Keep going.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. We got disconnected.
We have some technical difficulties. It's fine.
No, not a problem.
100%.
That it just permeates through your entire body, and yeah, I think just during those stepping stones with college, and then calling your first minor league game and my first spring training game, it just reinforces the point of, man, like this is the best job ever.
Well, you do a great job at it. We're looking forward to the game on Friday as well. More with Alex Cohen in just a bit. But first, make Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram your #1 draft pick this summer to find the perfect new car for you. This July, shop a wider selection of vehicles at Ray CDJR and score new lower prices across their huge inventory during their Make This the Summer event. For a limited time, lease the new 2024 Jeep Compass Latitude LUX for $189 a month, or shop 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. Let the amazing team at Ray CDJR help you land the perfect vehicle at the perfect price, because with Ray's price promise, the numbers you're hearing right here on the podcast are the same ones you can expect to shop in store and online. That's because Ray's price promise means no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees. And since they prioritize affordability for their customers, hurry into Ray CDJR today and shop one of the Chicago area's largest inventories, then drive home with more money in your pocket than you'd expect. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you got to check out our team at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, because they're the only team we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com, serving the community since 1963.
Alex, after the broadcast on Sunday, did you perhaps, have a after game celebration of your first game? Celebratory beer, perhaps, with your wife and friends?
I had a beverage on Monday night when I was able to get home and like have it really set in. Like,
well, it's probably a blue moon.
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
definitely a blue moon.
It's definitely a blue moon. It's definitely. It was definitely.
I love blue moon. It's a great summer beer. It's awesome.
Absolutely. A new baseball season deserves a bold, unique beer from its refreshing flavor from Valencia orange peel for a sweetness and hints of coriander. Blue Moon Belgian style wheat ale is a one of a kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Blue Moon was brewed by baseball to give you a dose of nostalgia and get you excited for the new season. Blue Moon isn't just another beer, it's a whole different experience. Why strike out with the same old beer when you can get something one of a kind? It's a bold flavor, bright explosion of color. The iconic orange slice ritual guarantees a one-of-a-kind beer experience, perfect for spring weather, best served with its signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful hazy color. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all season long. Bring the ballpark to you with Blue Moon Belgian Style Wheat Ale. It's one of a kind every time. Get Blue Moon delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/CHGO to see your delivery options. That's get.bluemoonbeer.com/CHGO. Blue Moon, made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
All right, let's put on our rose-colored glasses and explain to the people why the future is bright for your Chicago Cubs. Brought to you by Shady Rays. Head to shadyrays.com. Use the code CHGO at checkout for 35% off your polarized sunglasses. And we are joined by rising play-by-play superstar Alex Cohen, who's going to call the Cubs game again on Friday 120 Club. I know Cody doesn't want to put too much pressure on you. And Alex, if you have to go, just wave the flag over there because we know you're busy today. He's squeezing us into his schedule. I know Cody's going to put the pressure on you. He wants a shout-out for the Friday 120 Club in the broadcast. It might impact your career going down the line, but,
Just acknowledge the green shirts. That's all I'm asking.
Look at that
That's all I'm
crew over
asking.
there.
Acknowledging the green shirts in left field. That's all.
Do you know what section, row, seat?
504 is the section we're always in, and we're always like the very first row in 504.
It's
Left
like the
field
front
bleachers.
2 rows of the left field bleachers. Bleacher Jeff's in the far left corner by the cutout. They're just to the right of the cutout.
We always sit with like
I
my
can
tag.
shout out Bleacher Jeff, and then I'm like, those green Friday shirts.
There's those
lining
sickos in the
man.
green shirts. There they are. Who's that guy
you go.
without his shirt on? That's Brad.
As long as you acknowledge it, we don't care how you acknowledge it.
Right.
Yeah, we don't care how, just if you do.
Just, Brad, 2 words, SPF 6000. Come on.
Okay, I want to ask you a couple questions about Iowa. If whatever time we've got left. Who did you see in the unofficial first half of the season that you said, you know what, they haven't gotten enough time at the big leagues, or they just haven't had that shot yet at all that still might be able to help the Cubs in the second half of the season?
I'll give you 2. I'll give you a pitcher, and I'll give you a hitter. Man, Moises Ballesteros can hit. He can flat out rake.
Yeah.
And I know the scouting report is can't play first, can't really catch, probably a DH. The first game that he caught, it was like they gave up 2 runs on 6 hits. Second game that he caught, it was a 2-hit shutout. He can catch. I mean, it's not obviously a plus tool right now, but it's something that he has good hands. He has a strong arm. He has good sense of calling a game. I was talking with Dan Straley, longtime big league veteran, one of the Iowa Cubs pitchers, and he says, I really like throwing to him. Now, if a 35-year-old pitcher who's been in professional baseball for 15 years and the big leagues with 8 says, I like throwing to you, you're obviously doing something right. So, yeah, I think that the catching is underrated, and I think that right now he could help this team offensively. There's not a doubt in my mind. He's 20 years old, and he's one of the most impressive hitters I've seen in the Cubs system in 6 years.
Wow.
That's high praise. Greg Zumak had high praise, too. We asked him,
2
what
straight
2
days.
players would you refuse to trade in any kind of deal? And he said Horton and Ballesteros, which I kind of jumped back. I was like, whoa, those are his top 2 now. So that's pretty interesting. Who was the pitcher?
It was Hunter Biggie, and you saw Biggie for 3 appearances, and 2 were really good. 1, he struggled throwing strikes. And in terms of stuff, when you can throw 98 to 100 with 2 different types of sliders and spin a curveball, all for strikes, and get a lot of swings and misses, if he can control the strike zone and control the run game, he is a back end of the bullpen arm. And I saw him last year, and he couldn't throw strikes, and he had difficulty controlling the run game, but just completely revitalized his pitching approach. And if you talk to him, he'll tell you that. He said, last year, some point, I just said, you know what? I'm not going to get to the big leagues going this way, so I'm going to try something different. And he really recomposed his delivery, mental framework. I wouldn't expect anything less from a Harvard guy, but he lived up to the hype, and he's special, man. I mean, his stuff, like pure stuff, moxie, mound presence, it's all there. So if it clicks and he can continue to throw strikes, he's a 8 to 10 year big leaguer, back end of the bullpen arm.
That would be huge.
Other guys that we've talked about for 2 years, Matt Mervis, for example. What do you think the issue for him is between AAA, where he's clearly raked, but when he's made got his 2 chances at the major league level, it hasn't gone well. What are you seeing that, in your opinion, it's not translating? Like, why, in your opinion, why is it not working out for him to this point?
Yeah, I think that first call up, just not consistent at bats. I mean, if you talk to every hitting coach in the big leagues, I mean, you say that you're not going to get a sample size over 10 to 50 at bats. It's 100 at bats. 100 at bats, you can tell what a player does well. Keep on doing that. What they don't do well, we'll work on it. Not that we'll have it fixed, but we'll work on it. So he didn't even get to go through the process of working on it before getting sent back down. This year he just struggled. He came up, he was in a rut, he didn't play well, and coming back down to Iowa, trying to work on some things, not being as pull heavy, recognizing spin, eliminating the swings and misses, hit for power. I mean, I think when Matt was up in the big leagues, he was focusing on making contact and having productive ABs, which is great. But when you're 6'4", 235 pounds and have a history of hitting 30, 35, 36 home runs in a season, play to your strengths, man. Matt's a really smart kid. He's got a lot of power. He's got a lot of ability. Unfortunately, right now on the injured list with a hand injury. And when he comes back, and it's not an issue of if, it's when, hopefully he can tap into that and be as aggressive as he was in 2022. Because if he can channel that along with an advanced hitting approach, I still think he can be a big league caliber player. Now, as he showed that last 2 times he's been up, he hasn't. I think he'd be the first one to tell you that. But is the ability there? Is the power there? Are the tools there? I think they are.
I think another guy, obviously not a guy that's currently injured, is Cade Horton. Yep. You got to see him for about a month, 4 weeks, something like that, at AAA before the it's been described like right lat or shoulder, like that area he was shut down 3 to 4 weeks in June, that kind of stuff. So I'm just curious, and everyone's curious about Cade Horton and if he can fully recover from the injury, like in a time this season where he doesn't there's still some time left in the season, and like the ramping back up doesn't take forever. Like, is he almost ready? Is there a chance that he could actually be ready for a big league debut now, including obviously missing over a month with that injury?
I'm going to say no, but for a good reason. They don't need him. The Cubs starting rotation has been the best in baseball. It's been one of the best in the National League. They have right now 6 pitchers that they can choose from to start. And if you can get Jordan Wicks back and healthy, if you can get Ben Brown back and healthy, you don't need that to happen right now. Now, if the Cubs rotation was struggling a little bit, I would say that curve of getting healthy would be expedited. Do I think that he could pitch in a big league game and help you win right now? Yes, I do. I think that the secondaries right now play. I think that the slider right now is a legit 70-grade slider. I think that the split change that he's working on is legit. Is he throwing 99? No. But is it 94 to 96, topping out at 97? Yes. I mean, the 2 comps that I have for him are Tim Hudson and Sonny Gray. 2 pretty good ones.
There you go.
Pretty good.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's kind of where, even before the injury, it was like they shouldn't rush him through the system just to get him, to pitch in the big leagues. Like, guys in the big league level have to start performing better. And I think you've seen that both in the rotation and in the bullpen. Quietly, the bullpen has been pretty solid for the last month and a half. So, I think I'm kind of with you that even without the injury, he's probably not getting rushed through the system. But now with the way the staff has performed, letting him rehab or recover, all that stuff, and just, again, not expediting that is probably the move.
I think if the organization were in a different place, if starting pitching were a struggle, they'd be attacking this a little differently. But it's a luxury to have the starting pitching that the Chicago Cubs have right now. And I know some people don't want to admit that, and you were talking about the negativity or the positivity of social media, but their starting rotation has been spectacular. It's been really, really good, and I think we have to acknowledge that.
I think the big thing with the rotation for sure is it's crazy how much we as fans feel like we're missing Ben Brown and Jordan Wicks so much right now, because it's just kind of been a mixed bag with Wesneski and Kyle Hendricks. First half of the year he struggled, but he's gotten it together since the beginning of June, right? So I think with what we've seen from Wicks and Ben Brown, it kind of leaves you like, man, we're really missing those guys right now. So I think it's fair to say that, we all want to see Cade Horton at some point. I think if this team is in a playoff race still in September, if he's healthy, I think he could be an extra added factor to at least be a bullpen guy. I don't know, but.
You see, it's tough to say, hey, you're going to make your big league debut, but do it in a role that you've never done before in a pennant race. So, and I think a lot of that depends on the health of the bullpen. Do you get ALLCITY back? Is Julian Merriweather back and healthy? I think if Mark Leiter Jr. keeps on pitching like he did in St. Louis and he's healthy and he's that guy that was, one of the best and most consistent relievers in baseball over the last couple of years, like they're close to getting healthy. They're close to being back. So,
that's fair.
I get what you're saying, Cody, from a prospect standpoint, wanting to get excited, but I think the best situation for them is the guys that they have get healthy and they keep on pitching well.
Okay, last question, because I know you got to run.
Sure.
If you had to tell me what player you've seen at Iowa that you're not surprised they've done well at the big leagues, who is that player? Over any time that you've been at Iowa, like, oh, this guy I could see in Iowa, I knew he was going to do well.
That's a really good question. It's
Asking
Justin.
the hard questions.
It's Justin Steele for me. It's Justin Steele for me. It's you knew when he was on the mound, even if he didn't have his best stuff, he was going to compete and give your team a chance to win. And when he did have his best stuff, he was virtually unhittable. And not in like the strikeout, I'm going to punch out 12 and throw 6 scoreless innings, is that you weren't hitting a ball hard. Or if you were, it was a solo homer when the game was in hand. I think that he is a 10, 12-year big leaguer. I think he's going to be a 2-3-time All-Star. I think he's a guy who's going to be a clubhouse leader. He's going to help you win division titles. He's hopefully going to help you win a World Series. He is a franchise caliber guy. So I'm not surprised that Justin Steele is having this much success.
Good answer.
Awesome. We think you're the same. We appreciate all your time. Good luck on Friday's broadcast. Don't forget, green shirts.
Green shirts.
That's us. That's us. Left
Friday
field
120
corner.
Club.
Friday 120 Club.
Green shirt, Cody, no shirt, sweating. Okay,
Right,
I'm getting all
right.
like the.
You got it all there.
Yeah, Cody, Braggs. Braggs the guy with no shirt, but yeah, green.
Gotcha.
It's like a cutoff, yeah. But yeah,
We got it.
green shirts.
Brags, hydrate, sunscreen. Got it.
Right, yes. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it. And have a great call on Friday.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, man.
Great, Alex Cohen. Hey, guys, by the way, it's grilling season. Get your pork. People who are active need more protein than the average American. In fact, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics and Dietitians of Canada, the American College of Sports Medicine recommend, if you need anybody else, they recommend 1.2 to 2.0 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day for athletes depending on their training. Now, you can get 1 3-ounce serving of pork provides 23 grams of high-quality protein that can help active individuals build and preserve muscle. We're talking about guys like Ryan. Now, the International Society of Sports Nutrition recommends that people who are involved in a general fitness program or just interested in maybe optimizing their health, guys like me, eat low-fat, high-quality sources of protein, including lean cuts of pork. We had our friend Grilling with Dad here. Oh, wow, that was a good time. He showed us off. We have little pork tenderloin bites there. Oh, Cody said they were delicious.
Oh, so good.
Elevate your protein game with lean pork, a powerhouse of natural goodness. Savor the flavor, savor the gains, and celebrate any occasion by enjoying the best pork produced by Illinois pig farmers, from your sausage and bacon for breakfast to pulled pork and juicy chops hot off the grill. It's an entire season dedicated to pork and the people behind the product, paid for by the Illinois pork producers. Generations of commitment.
Luke, we're always driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/ALLCITY right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast, the CHGO Cubs Podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Indeed, you need Indeed.
Indeed, you need pork. Hey, by the way, we mentioned it when we were talking to Alex Cohen. He's going to be calling the game, and of course, it is the Friday 120 Club. You can still join us. You can join the group, Cody and the gang. All you have to do is meet at Murphy's Bleachers in the morning before the game. You can buy the 120 shirt right now at the CHGO locker.
Do we have any
at chgo.com?
Sarah, are we bringing any to Friday?
We don't know yet. We're still waiting. It's being shipped here.
Okay.
So we might have some on site, but you can also get them, order them online.
Oh yeah, they're
now.
fully stocked online.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's one of the sickest designs we have. It's nice. It's buttery soft. It'll make you feel good.
Sick drip.
And if you wear your Mando, you won't smell.
Right.
You'll feel good, and you won't ruin the shirt.
Exactly. And the Shota shirt, it's been restocked as well. So,
Sweet. So you can buy those shirts, and you can meet at Murphy's.
Yep.
Buy your own bleacher ticket. Probably use Game Time would be the best way to do it.
Absolutely.
And then go sit in the bleachers unless you have a ticket somewhere else.
And speaking of this day, with the Diamondbacks coming to town, our friends from PHNX Diamondbacks are here. And Derek, he's one of their co-hosts of that show. He's going to be hanging out with us. And me and him are going to try and get along that day.
You're going to get
Not yell
along.
at each other.
We won't yell at each other.
There you go.
And we get the watch party coming up as well. July 26th, another one. We just had the good one with the chicken tenders
The Village
out in
Tavern.
Carroll Stream.
What-
Village Tavern.
what's
This one is
Miller's-
at Miller's Ale House. In
What's this
Schaumburg.
place known for?
This place has a lot of good selections on beer, but obviously we're going to be drinking Blue Moon.
Blue Moon.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm going to do is drink
It's
Blue
the only
Moon.
one you need to select. Now,
Yeah.
what's it known for? Being in the Mid-Suburban League.
That's true. That
Schaumburg.
mid-suburban league area.
All right,
Schaumburg, that's
being
greatness.
being right. Like, you know what it's known for?
Where greatness begins.
Well, it's
the
known,
Mid-Suburban League.
It's known for potentially hosting the King of Elk Grove.
Oh, the King of
the
Elk
King
Grove
of
might
Elk
be there.
Grove.
Royalty in the suburbs.
Wow.
I didn't realize
We
that.
used to dream of times like this.
You know we're big when the King of Elk Grove shows up.
Right.
And you kneel before him and say, "Hi, hello, King."
Absolutely.
Your Majesty, actually. All right, let's play a quick game of over-under. We started it yesterday. We did Cubs wins over-under 79 because we're readjusting some of our preseason predictions now because we've seen enough Cubs baseball, both good and bad. Good at the beginning, bad in the middle, good for the last 7 games. Christopher Morel, home runs. Over-under 30. That was a number we were trying to get him to hit, right? We were saying, could he be the first 40 home run guy? Could he be they didn't have a 30 guy. They had a bunch of 20 home run guys last year. He's at 18 right now. And of course, there's been some big slumps. Can Morel go from 18 at the unofficial halfway point of the season and still get to 30 over under by the end of the season?
We're saying 12 over his last, it was 64 games. Mm-hmm. It was a little over one every 5 games.
I probably should have put the number at 29. Let's put it at 29. Over under 29.
29 and a half.
29 and a half. Okay, I don't win when he pushes.
I'll go over because I already have a bet from the beginning of the season that says over 26 and a half. So we're going over.
Just keep going.
going.
I mean, I think it's obviously, it's tough because, like, he hasn't performed all that well, like, results-wise, pretty much this whole season. He's hitting, 202, like a 690 OPS, something like that. Had a better last 10 days, 10 games, whatever that stretch was. But he still hit, he hit 18 home runs. Like, he's still putting a lot of home runs over the wall in that first half, even without the rest of the results to show for it. I'd probably say over. I think he can get 12 in these next, like I said, 64 games. We've seen Morel go through really, really hot stretches. There's always a chance he can catch one of those at some point in the second half and just hit a bunch of home runs in a small stretch of games. I think he can hit 30.
How about here's a better question. Over under a 240 batting average for at season's end.
I'll go under on that, but I think the home runs, I still feel his hot stretch is coming, even though we didn't see his best at bats late. I still think that's coming. Gary Ross in the live YouTube chat says 30 with the Cubs, so that's something to factor in too. What if he were to be a guy that were traded somehow in a move? I guess that could impact things, or a trade in general could impact how many at-bats he's getting late in the season. I still think that comes. You think what do you think of 240?
I think it's if he goes on that really hot
Yeah, then
stretch
the
that
average
he's been
might go
due
up too.
for.
Yeah.
I mean, he's hitting 202. Maybe I should be setting it at like 220, but like, what's the difference between 200 and 220? You know, like
240 is pretty high at this point.
yeah.
I don't know if he could reach 240. 220, definitely more attainable.
Should I move it to 225, 230?
Well,
like
12 home runs doesn't take a lot of hits. He could just get 12 home runs and the rest of it not be great too.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Gary asked, or Godfather asked it in the chat right now. Will Morel hit over 199? I think he will. I mean, he'll end up over 199, but
Will half the team hit over 199 was the question early
Yeah.
on I had.
it's
if they
a good
trade
question.
Morel, I will be rioting here on trade deadline day. So
What if they get?
No, we're not, Gary.
Juan
We're not
Soto.
saying 12 more homers in July. We're saying
No,
the
he's
rest of the
asking
season.
that
season.
because he's basically
Oh,
pandering
because
to the
he's-
idea of him
of
being
him
traded.
being traded. Gotcha.
Yes.
Oh.
Sticking with the home run thing, then Cubs players with 20 home runs. Last year they had 6, right? But of course, Wisdom had that super hot stretch. You had some different guys. Right now you have Bellinger at 9, Bush at 12, Morel at 18, Dansby at only 9, Happ at 15, Seiya at 13. I put the over-under at 5. How many Cubs players will reach the 20 home run mark this season?
Those are the top 6 home run hitters right
Those
now.
are the top home run hitters right there. So you have 2 guys at 9, 1 at 12, 1 at 15, 1 at 13, and 1 at 18. How many will reach 20?
So
you
the
would
big-
think that Morel will hit it easily.
Yeah.
I think Happ only needs 5 more. So there's 2.
might have
But
to
will you
go
get
under.
3 more?
I have to go under on that. Like Bush would need 8 in the second half. Happ would need 5. Morel obviously 2
Yeah.
should be a given. Seiya, I think, can hit another 7 and hit 20. I think those are your 4, but like
Bellinger's tough to get there.
He
Hurt.
I mean, obviously he's hurt, right? So he's gonna miss some time to start the All-Star break or the post All-Star break stretch of the year. That's gonna be tough for him to get to 20. Dansby, he's at 9, right?
9.
So that's gonna be tough to get another 11 in a shorter span. I know he's someone that can have a hot stretch, but we just haven't seen it this year. And he just needs to hit better, and whether that includes home runs or not, like not really worrying about that. You're worrying about his overall offense. But yeah, I think it's going to be tough for him to get to 20 just with the limited amount of games left. I think you're looking at under. I think you're looking at 4.
I
You're
do too,
right there,
because
but only at 4, I think.
You need either I think Bush could get there, and I do think Seiya could get there, but they're not guarantees.
No.
And you would need one of those other guys to get there too. I think I would take the under.
I'll take over. Bush, Happ, Seiya, Morel, and I
And?
can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Dansby's more likely to hit the 20 than Bellinger. And
It's at 5.
But availability.
You need 6
No.
to go over. Are we going or setting the line at 4.5?
All right, let's set it at
All right,
4.5.
fine.
Yeah, I'm
that's
changing.
the way I was looking
Okay,
at it.
yeah.
man.
I have
Dansby's
very
hit
tight
20
money
plus
line
homers.
splits, by the way.
Dansby's hit 20 plus homers the last 2 years. So, I mean, and as we know, he's a streaky hitter. So, of course, like you could say this about every single one of these guys. Like, if they go on a hot streak, they could, like we said about Morel, if he goes on a hot streak that we all think that he's going to do, he could hit 30, I think Bush has more power in him. Like, 12 doesn't scare me for Michael Bush. He's been their best offensive player. Before the season, I said 20 to 25 home runs for him this year. All right. Happ, the fact that he has 15 at the All-Star break is a massive W if there's any good things going on with this team.
We got hot.
Yeah.
Hot with the home run for sure.
And Seiya, if he didn't hit 20 last year, it was like 19, all right? But he didn't have 13 home runs at the All-Star break. So I feel like Seiya is going to hit, barring injury. This is all barring injuries, right? And maybe Belly does come back and go on a hot streak, But, yeah, I mean, it's asking a lot, but the team's going to have to play at that kind of level if they're going to be in the playoff race. So I'm not betting actual money. This is just me hoping.
And we can say, yeah, they could. Yeah, right. You can, if the guy gets traded to another team, Bellinger, Gary's asking about that. Sure, you can count those home runs too. I think what I was getting at with that question is almost certainly they're going to have less 20 home run hitters than they did last season. And I still don't know if they're going to have a 30 home run hitter this season. So it's a good thing the pitching has been better in the first half. Because that was the biggest question going into the season. Would they have enough pop? And this year, you're going to look at it and say they most certainly have less pop than they did last year.
I will pander to Gary now and say, well, what if they add Vladimir Guerrero Jr.?
Oh, wait a minute.
Then we're definitely going over the 4.5.
Would you count his Blue Jays home runs?
It's total home runs. I mean, he was saying Morel 12 home runs with the Cubs. Like, I'm just saying.
Hey, Shota got Vlad Jr. in the All-Star game, and then I was like, I don't want him anymore. That's it.
I'm just
Shota
saying,
shoved
like,
against him. I don't want
they
him.
could certainly, quote unquote, buy for the now and the future and bring in the big bat that we've all been talking about. I don't know who that guy is, but that possibility is certain. Or, it's something that could happen. Just like Morel could get traded, which would be really stupid. But
Depending on who they get back.
Yeah.
depending on who they get back, which with these numbers right now, you're selling very, very, very low.
For a short-term, it's not a total rental, but Vlad, would you take Morel for Vlad?
I would trade Morel for Vlad. Yeah. But
too. I don't know what else you'd have if you have to
obviously,
add
if
on,
you
but-
make that trade, you are talking contract extension immediately.
Yeah.
Because that giving away someone like that, but I don't think the Blue Jays would give away.
No, I think
would
it
trade
I
Vlad
think it,
for Morel.
I think it would take much more than that. But
Yeah.
like, they might take Morel, and maybe they need one of your starting pitchers.
Trading Morel, if we're trading Morel, I'm only trading Morel if a real legitimate like star is coming back.
And non 2-month rental.
Right.
It's got to be somebody for the future. Okay, I got one more for you. PCA stolen bases.
He's got 17.
He's at 17. Over or under 40, I probably should have been 39.5. So before I say it, I'll say 39.5. Again, tight money line splits. I can't help that my numbers are changing a little bit. I'm a little sketchy, but I do have tight money line splits. Not as good as Circa's, but they're good.
I'll go over because we're riding a 2-homer game that you just had, and so I've already talked myself into an incredible 2.5-month stretch to end the season for PCA that we all fall in love with him, and he hits, and that means he's on base, which means he's stealing bases. It's very delusional of me to say.
He possibly could lose playing time if Tauchman comes back. Maybe he's not in every day.
I just don't see how they can do that with the way that he's defensively he's played.
I'm not saying I would do it,
Yeah.
but I guess it's possible there'll be a few less games.
I think if
I think it's
Tauchman
more
coming
likely
back
that
I think Tauchman coming back would fill what Belly was doing as far
Yeah.
as more right field, say a DHing. Like I know like
Yes.
Mastrobuoni's played really well defensively, but PCA he might lose some playing time. Like there's probably like maybe facing lefties. He's sitting whatever, and can come in once a right-handed reliever comes in or whatever it is. But I do think for the most part you're letting him play center field the way he's playing defensively and running the bases. Talking about getting 23 stolen bases in 64 games, so
you'd have to be on base a lot.
yeah, you have to be on base
lot.
a lot, and
Again, delusional of me to say.
yeah,
Right.
I'd probably go under, but I think like in the 30s.
Water bottle.
Yeah, just
Cool him off.
I'd probably go under, but I think still in the 30s is pretty good for considering he
I think you should lower the number to 30. I think that's
you and
more,
Gary, why don't you go start your own sports book?
Yeah.
Like I have.
no, I
Stucky Lines.
I think
It's an
he'll
offshoot of Circa.
I think he'll be comfortably in the 30s. I just don't know if there's enough time left in the season for him to get to 40. But
It's under. Under's the answer for sure. But if he got to 30, you'd still be like, wow, that's a lot considering he wasn't there all season.
And Godfather points out Tauchman to the Yankees. Like I do think
a lot
like
of possibilities.
Sahadev Sharma and Patrick Mooney said on Northside Territory the other day that they are expecting Tauchman to be activated on Friday. He's been in the Arizona Complex League this week playing
playing some games, same with Merriweather.
Yeah, and so if he is activated on Friday, that's a couple weeks to if he plays well. The Cubs could move him. It sucks because I obviously like the guy, but you have so many outfielders, and PCA is the future, and Tauchman is like a mid-30s. He gets on base, but that's about
Perfect
it.
fourth outfielder.
Yeah. But you have so
great
many
one.
outfielders,
Yeah, no, I get that.
He's also the guy that was hitting pretty well.
Yeah.
Was one of this team's best hitters for a
you
while.
might-
Was a
there,
leadoff
so-
guy for a
You
while.
might be
so
able
what,
to.
What do you want to trade off, right? Like, would you rather have a better bat in there? Obviously, the defense and the base running.
I think you legitimately could get more for Tauchman now than you could for Bellinger, considering the contract. If he comes back and plays well,
That might be true. That might be true. By the way, congratulations go out to the Palatine Pounder and his wife. They're going to
yeah.
be parents. He's
Yeah,
going to be
I
a
saw
first-time
that.
dad,
I
I
did
saw.
I did see that,
Social
yeah.
media. Last season is a family of two, so that's exciting for him.
it's the summer, so that's what he does.
I wonder if they're going to, if it's a boy, you think they'll go P2?
P2?
Pounder 2?
No.
What?
I don't know.
Little Pounder?
Low pound.
We can move on.
Yeah, that's,
We'll move on.
I'm with you, Sarah. I'm with
I didn't say it.
Easy, Sarah. Cubs Diamondbacks, right? That's the upcoming series. And
You
we
gonna
kind
skip
of,
the other one?
what one?
The other over/under.
Oh, the wins. We did that.
Yeah.
We did it yesterday.
Oh, we did do that.
Yeah,
My
I
bad.
just
My
borrowed
bad.
it.
Sorry.
I think you said 90 was still in play.
I didn't say 90 was
I think
still
you
in
said
play.
that, right?
I didn't say
I
that.
said 90 is probably off the table.
I am now feeling best case scenario 85. Best case scenario.
Which I think was my preseason prediction.
Yeah.
So.
And the
That's
under
how I
was
feel.
I put it at was over under 79.
But, we'll see. Let me get delusional. Let me be delusional for a couple more days.
The bottom line is they're going to be playing a lot of teams that they're chasing because they're the fourth worst team in the National League, right? And while there are a lot of teams very close for that third wild card, you got to start winning series against the Diamondbacks. You got to win series against the Cardinals and the Brewers. Like, they're going to have to be really good in the second half of the season. Craig Brindle says quarter pounder. That's good, too.
I like that.
There you
go,
quarter.
Craig. There you go. That's good. That's good. I like it.
So what do you expect this Diamondback series? Because playing the Diamondbacks last year at the end of the season really was the downfall of the season. Like, if they owe a team, boy, do they owe the Diamondbacks.
They played them well in April. Hell, they probably should have swept them in April. The one game they lost in April went to extra innings. It was like a 11-9 game or something like that. I'm pretty sure.
It was an extra inning game. I don't remember the score, but it was one of those.
The Diamondbacks, while they are basically right around 500, they've had a lot of bullpen problems. Starting pitching is okay outside of Jordan Montgomery, who's been a massive disappointment for them. And Corbin Carroll, for the most part, has struggled this year, but he's getting it going now.
Still
But
a guy you're
Ketel
really worried
Marte
about,
was an all-star this year.
Christian Walker's hitting a lot of home runs.
They're still
Could've
a
been
good
an
team,
all-star
and
this
to
year.
me, like, as far as the wild card race goes, they still scare me more than the Mets or the Cardinals, who are in those spots right now, because that team went to the World Series last year and they made it better. You can argue that the Diamondbacks have underperformed. I feel like the guys from PHNX Diamondbacks out there would tell me that if I went and asked them that after the show. But I mean, you already won one series against them on the road. A lot of people that want this team to sell are saying that the Cubs don't own the tiebreaker with a lot of teams. You win this series, you have a chance. You can own the tiebreaker,
Yeah.
So it is a massive series. You got Justin Steele probably starting on Friday. You gotta take 2 or 3 at least.
Yeah, I mean they're 2.5 games ahead of the Cubs in the wild card standings right now. So you're talking about just clawing up these standings, jumping teams, and stuff like that. Like, this is a golden opportunity in front of you to kick off the second half by potentially, if you can take 2 out of 3, I think you end up like half a game back of the Diamondbacks by the end of the series. If you sweep them, you jump them. Like, this is a huge opportunity for them to just get off on the right foot as far as facing teams that are ahead of them in the standings and doing well. Like, that's what they need to do now. Like, they didn't do enough of that, obviously, in the first half, and this is why they're in the position they're at. They are like still behind 5 teams that aren't even in a wild card position right now, not including the 3 obviously wild card teams. They got 5 teams ahead of them that just aren't even in that position yet. They have to start jumping them at some point. And so, like I said, this is an opportunity to start off the second half on the right foot and take some games from a team they're looking up at in the standings. Like, at this point, that's all you can do is just play who's in front of you, especially if they're a team ahead of you in the standings. That's all you can do is just play well, because you've for 98 games, you didn't do enough. I don't know. I mean, I will say, like, you're probably looking at Steele, Shota, and Tyone, like your 3 best guys coming out of the All-Star break, which is huge as far as starting pitching goes. The offense, like, I don't know if the All-Star break was good or bad just because they had started playing. They had started hitting better, right?
We're going to find out.
But they did end the first half looking better over a 10-11 stretch game, and you feel better about that. So, yeah, it's just you're getting probably your best starting pitchers out there. Your bullpen's going to be fully rested. So you're feeling good about the pitching side. If the offense can show up, yeah, you got an opportunity to beat a team ahead of you in the standings, and that's at this point in the season is always huge.
Right. And it's a homestand. Like, you got to do well in this homestand.
I wouldn't say they were, they weren't on a heater. They were on a better stretch of baseball that was more pleasing to the eye to watch than
you were getting
the
more
stuff
complete
before.
Games, like more just overall complete games from all 3 phases. Or 4, I guess.
I'd really feel bad about it if they were on like a 6-game winning streak. Yeah. Right? Like, if that came then, you'd just be like, oh, what a buzzkill that is to have to take time off. We'll see. Offensively, if you had to name 3 offensive stars for, maybe not stars, guys that did either exactly what you're paying them to do or whatever their role is or more, Bush, Tauchman, Happ?
I think Seiya, you can make the argument that he's doing what you're paying him to do. It's just that I think
But those guys all either exceed, right? I think Bush exceeded expectations. I think Tauchman probably exceeded what we wanted.
Are you asking guys who've exceeded expectations, or are you asking for guys who have played up to what they're being paid?
Well, whoever did it the most, like the top of the list for exceeding expectations or reaching expectations, I would put those three in the first half of the season, and I would say it can't be those three in the second half if you're going to make a legit run.
Well,
or at least two of the three.
My point with Seiya is he's playing like he has the last couple years, and I think the only disappointment is that I think fans want more, but he has never proven to do more, and so that leads me to yell about Jed.
Well, and Nico's pretty close to that, too. Nico's not that far off from, I mean...
He's been underwhelming, in my opinion, but his defense is still there.
Right.
And I'm optimistic that he can continue to play well in the second half. He also ended the All-Star break, or before the All-Star break, was playing well. And they need him to continue to hit.
Obviously, Dansby, Morrell, they're going to need the results offensively. I mean, you look at, like, Seiya's had a 128 WRC plus, Haps 130, which would be, I think, the best of his career. And Bush is 132. So those three guys are like, it's kind of like I've talked about. They're having good offensive years. It's just been like clouded by the fact that the offense was overall not very good for a couple months there. But those guys have been good. I mean, I'll say with Nico, he finished the first half with a 98 WRC plus, just below league average. You want that to, if you can get that to like a 107, 108, 109, like that territory, you feel good because with the defense, he's still been a two-war player, according to Fangraphs. He's still been a two-war player in the first half, which is good. Not where he was at last year, but still good. And I mean, it's higher than Seiya's right now. It's at where Hap was and a little bit below Bush. So like the defense has been his calling card, obviously, this year, coming off a Gold Glove year. If his bat can turn it around, if he could turn it around even more with the bat, you feel really good about him. And then, yeah, like I said, Dansby, you need more out of him. Morrell, you definitely need more out of him, especially in like the overall slug. He's hitting home runs, but like I think you want the slugging to really get even higher than where it's been. And WRC plus, he's lower than Nico. He's 96. So overall hitting just needs to be better from him. But yeah, I mean, like I said, like a lot of those guys had better weeks and a half, 2 weeks going into the All-Star break. Is that erase what happened in the first half? No. But does that give you a little bit of hope and confidence that those guys were starting to find it and can maybe keep it going in the second half? I think that's fair to say.
Tomorrow's show is going to be a fun one. We're going to do we're going to put out our top 10 Cubs games of all time. We've started making the list. It's going out. You'll see them on social media. You saw the top 25 games in Chicago sports history. We're going to pull that aside and just say top 10 Cubs games of all time. Some of you won't like the list. Some of you will. We'll debate it all tomorrow at 1:20 right here. And then, of course, don't forget the Friday 1:20 Club kicks off the unofficial second half of the season. Big thanks to, what's that?
Can I have, I wanted to say something before the end of the show.
Go ahead.
Okay, so did you guys happen to see the Twitter beefs I got into last night?
No.
You didn't see that?
No, who was it with?
There's some random account with no real picture, like, took my Jim Edmonds rant and tweeted the video and then said that some people shouldn't be allowed to do a podcast.
So it's somebody in St. Louis.
No,
or it's Jim Edmonds.
It was actually he had like his. So what's funny?
Were the initials J.E.?
What's funny is his
in the egg.
What's funny is his photo was a Pokemon with a Cubs hat on. Okay. So he was a Cubs fan, I'm assuming.
Well, he did play for the Cubs.
Anyway, the point, the reason that I bring this up is because I think a lot of people got really confused by the entire like sequence of that rant.
Yeah.
And a lot of people got mad at me because they think that I didn't think Paul Skeens deserved to start in the All-Star game, which I understand that I said that.
Yeah,
but I also
he did say that.
I said it, but I also said that I don't care that he is. I didn't make it a big deal, okay?
No, it wasn't
Don't
the
laugh
focus.
at me, Ryan.
No, this wasn't the focus.
The fact that you did say it is kind of funny.
But like people were acting like I made it this big deal. That's not the point.
It wasn't your focus.
And I'm bringing this up because we had a broadcaster on the podcast, all right? So the point that I was trying to make is that these older broadcasters all across baseball, I'm not talking about you.
Okay.
I'm not talking
you just
about
looked
you.
directly at me. Okay, go ahead.
I'm talking to you guys because that's what we do when we talk to each other. Okay,
these old heads.
They have this old mentality that they can't adapt with today's game. That's the whole point, and that is why, to me, baseball is not growing like the rest of the leagues around the sports world.
That's what you said when you were ranting, yeah.
That is the point of why I mentioned Paul Skeens starting in the All-Star game. That is the entire point, because sure, I guess you can argue that he deserved to start because, yes, he's been awesome, right? But he had like 11 starts, and he didn't start the year with the Pirates, while there are other guys who did start the year with their team and has been really, really good too. And more often than not, throughout the years of my life, the person who has started the All-Star game is usually the person in the running for the Cy Young, okay? Like one of the top 2 guys in the running for the Cy Young, okay, for each league, all right? Again, I don't care that Paul Skeens started the game. It was good for the game. And that, again, the point of it was the fact that things are so bad with marketing in MLB these days that they legitimately were like, we need to start this guy so it brings eyes in. Because, again, his girlfriend is popular on TikTok, and people are talking about him because he's being hyped up as one of the next great young pitchers. That's not to say that he's been overrated or anything like that. I don't think he is. He's been awesome. On my birthday in Wrigley Field, I saw him pitch 6 no-hit innings and struck out 11, okay? That's the whole point, is the fact that that's how bad the marketing in MLB has been, that they had to do something like that. And it goes in the fact that people like Jim Edmonds and other broadcasters around baseball continue to just scream at the clouds about some of this dumb shit. And it's just annoying. It's annoying. And it's not helping grow the game. That's the whole point. So I just wanted to close on that. And again, you don't have to agree with me. Hell, you don't have to like me. This random guy, he clearly doesn't like me. That's fine. I could care less. But I just wanted to clear that up.
I think if you didn't have the whole Paul Skeens thing in there, like the point wouldn't have been lost in what you were trying to say. But I think starting with the Paul Skeens,
we should just cut that part out.
Yeah, just cut.
Well, okay. So funny thing is I put the video on my Instagram account, but I didn't put the Paul Skeens thing because the video is too long, and the only way you can quote unquote upload a reel on Instagram is if it's a minute 30 or less.
People liked it without Skeens?
Yes, the people. I did not get bombarded on Instagram,
Interesting.
but I got bombarded on TikTok because I had the Paul Skeens thing in there.
Listen, what Cody's really trying to say at the end of this podcast is Jim Edmonds and 99.9% of people over 50 are not as fly as I am. Not everybody has as much drip as I do over 50, right?
Sick drip.
What's the other one that I had?
Dope merch?
No. The other thing that I had.
Riz. You have Riz.
Riz.
People over 50 don't have Riz like I do. Okay? And you see it every day. You see it every day. You see every day that I'm not sus and that I have Riz. And then you see Jim Edmonds and you're like, that guy's sus and he's got no Riz.
Right.
You slay every day.
I slay all the time.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't even point out the fact that Jim Edmonds legitimately called a fan who caught the ball that Morel hit fat on live television. Okay, I didn't even mention that.
And when I say fat, it's PHAT.
That part was very
again.
Much
it's always clear.
I just think that if MLB is going to ever get close to anything with the NFL or the NBA in today's era, with how you're trying to grab eyes, young eyes, you can't be on your broadcast pitching about how a guy celebrates.
It's just about letting players be themselves. And if it gets to a point where it's like disrespectful and overboard,
then you plug them.
You take issue with it. Let guys be themselves.
Like Jerks and Profar for the Padres, like a month and a half ago or whatever. He had a walk-off homer, and then he charged the other team's dugout. And then I can't remember who the team was, but they threw at him. I think it was the Nationals, actually. They threw at him the next day. Like, in some aspects, I kind of get it just because, he didn't have to do that, but it was the moment. That's kind of, I get that.
There's going to be a line.
What makes pitchers really mad is your team's losing 8-0, you hit a meaningless home run, and then you pimp it on the way down to first base. That's what really drives
Jim Edmonds was doing was crying because his team was getting dick stomped at his park on a Sunday at Busch Stadium. So,
Guys got no Riz. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs Podcast. Back again at 1:20 tomorrow. Thanks to Sarah running the 1s and 2s. Thanks to everybody in the live YouTube chat. And we will see you tomorrow. Until then, fly the W.
all silly like the mayor.